Hey everyone, Sven here from Cloud9, and I'm here today to give you some tips on how to improve in ranked solo queue. So for solo queue, it's always two things. You can always play to improve by testing your limits, but it has the downside that sometimes you'll make mistakes and you might lose because of it. But you will learn from that mistake, so ultimately you will improve and get better and get that elo back. But if you're in a promo or something like that, you might want to not test your limits too much and just try to win the game by not going for crazy plays. If the game is equal, you don't want to try something stupid and end up losing your team in the game. The main thing I think about when I go into a game is if I'm first picking or blind picking, it's very important because I don't play champs that are weak in lane. It opens you up to having less impact on the game. If I was an ADC main, which I am, I wouldn't pick something weak in lane. That's why I don't play champs like Vayne. I don't play, Jinx, stuff like that, blind pick especially. I play mostly like good laners like Kalista or Ezreal or Ashe, Varus, meta champions for solo queue, but in lower elos, you can get away with playing whatever you want. So I would say if you're a higher tier player, like Diamond Plus, I guess, playing champions that are good in the meta is more important. But if you're lower than Diamond, I don't think it matters too much. So just play comfort champs at that point. I think it's important that you have like 3 or 4 champions so that you aren't forced to pick a bad matchup every time. Let's say you're still one trick, you don't want to play against Draven every game, so you have to have more than one champ available. Create a champ pool for yourself. Like get like 3, 4, maybe 5 champions that you can play and play only them. Don't try to play 10 different characters at once because it might be too hard to, be good at them all at the same time. Once you're in champ select, try to figure out what your support wants to play because some ADCs are good with only a few supports and some supports are good with only a few ADCs. Try to create a combo with your support player. So if he wants to play something like Braum in low elo, you can play Lucian with it because it's good together, right? If you want to play Morgana, you can play Caitlyn because you can put a trap on his bind, right? Try to create some sort of combo or pick something that has synergy. Do what you can to make your draft better. I play a lot of solo queue and I play a lot of duo queue as well. I try to always duo with women if I can because bot lane is very reliant on 2 people, your jungler and your support. If your support is autofilled, it can be miserable. If your support is just not good or doesn't know you, it can be bad. So whenever you can, try to duo with someone you know as your support, someone you know is good, someone who plays the champions that you're good with. Now, I don't have the problem that I get autofilled very often because people usually give me my role because I'll carry them. But if you're in a different elo or a different position than me, then you might want to figure out what role can I play off role. So as an ADC main, I can play Lucian, for example, or Kalista, or Vayne, Quinn. Those champions, Tristana, can play in mid and top. So some ADC mains like to play top lane because you can play top Lucian or Tristana maybe. Or you can pick support and try to learn, to understand the lane from the support point of view, which can help you in the future understand the lane better because knowing what your support might think will help you judge situations better. If you don't know what to pick, just try. If you're new to the ADC role, you don't know what to play, and you're not very high elo, you don't really know what's good in pro play, just pick something. Go to the tab for marksman and pick one that you might find fun to play and just, try it out. At some point, you will play it, 50, 100 games, you'll play it. Let's say you play only Lucian. You'll play against, Jinx one game, then Vayne, then Kalista, then Varus, Ashe, and you'll start to figure out the power curves of champions and the matchups and stuff like that. And at some point, you will choose 2 or 3 more characters you can play when your champion is banned or picked away from you. I think it's important you start somewhere. It doesn't really matter where you start, because eventually, if you're planning on climbing in the ladder, playing ADC, you will play a couple hundred games probably over the course of the year. So don't worry about picking the best champion in your first game. Just pick something that you like, and if you're already high elo, like Diamond-ish, Diamond or higher, you will probably already understand what's meta and what's not. So don't worry about it too much if you're lower elo. Just pick whatever you like to play or have played before, or what looks fun? One of the worst feelings for the bottom role is that you're very dependent on two people, the support player and jungler. And if those two people are, for whatever reason, autofilled or just having a bad game or playing bad, it can affect your game more than anyone else's game because you can't farm with a bad support, you can't really roam as an ADC player. So if your support is bad, just try to farm, try not to die, go down in CS if you have to, and just try not to be a liability to the team. Worst case, you can run top at some point and try to lane swap or go for Herald and tell your jungler, hey, can we go Herald together? Put it in some lane and then get out of the laning phase. Try that maybe if you're doomed, but flaming never helps. So try to farm and wait for your spike, whatever that might be in the given game, and fight on your spike. This is more of a general tip rather than a ball-in tip, but I generally don't play a game if I'm losing a lot of games in a row. So if I lost like 3 games in a row, I'm like, okay, let me just calm down a little bit. I'll go take a short walk, or like 10 minutes, I'll go get some food, come back, try to reset. If I play badly, especially, I always take a break. But if I play well and I'm sure that I'm not tilted, then I can go ahead and play more games. But sometimes you can play really, really well and still lose. And in that case, I would try to just chill a bit. Same thing works if you're on winning streaks. You can keep playing, but taking a break is always good. It helps, in my opinion. But it's more important if you're losing. I think using the replay system in the client is pretty decent. You can download you can go to your client right here. I just wrote this. You go to your client, you can go to match history, look at your games and be like, oh, this game I play right here, I want the VOD. You click on this link right here, then you can push play. You can do this while you're in queue. If you download the game first, then you can queue up. And then you can go to go here, I can queue up like this. I can go to my history right here. And I can just watch the game right here. I recommend doing that if there's something that you're wondering, like, hey, was my wave manipulation bad this game? Or that one team fight, could I play better? Let's say you're like middle tier elo, like gold, something like that, and you go into the game and you don't know what to look for. Well, look at all your deaths. Let's say you have 5 deaths in a game. You're like, how did I die here? Okay, I got ganked. Well, I had 2 wards up. I could use my wards. When should I put my wards down? Try to ask questions like, oh, I have 45 CS at minute 15. In pro play, they have 150 at minute 15 on average, right? So, am I missing CS? Am I just last hitting incorrectly, right? Should I go in a custom game and practice it? Is my build bad? Like these kind of things. Check other pro players' builds on these champions in their pro games, what they build in which order. Like, try to ask yourself questions. Let's say one team fight, you're like, hey, this fight I didn't do any damage, so what happened? Was it the bad position? This fight I got one shot. What happened? Was it my teammate's fault? Was it me? Did I get caught? Could I have flashed something in this fight? Did I not use my dash correctly? Like, just try to watch team fights, watch all your deaths if you're in doubt of what to look at, and yeah. I think one of the most important things as an ADC main is to understand how your champion trades versus theirs. Let's say you're playing Lucian versus Vayne. You need to know what happens if you walk forward and attack him. Who wins this kind of trade? I can tell you that if Vayne and Lucian attack each other, and Lucian uses Q, and Vayne uses Tumble, and she dashes it, she wins the trade every time. But if you hit your Q, you win. So you have to understand that at some point this trade evolves from you pressing Alt Q as Lucian to you attacking and then waiting for Tumble and then queuing, right? So you learn these trade patterns and trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. So like, oh, Vayne versus Caitlyn, I'm going to go Doran Shield, try to farm, wait for ganks or support hooks or whatever. If you play Caitlyn versus Vayne, you're like, oh, I want to play aggressive. I want to, right click him on every minion, do some auto attacks on every minion, try to harass him out of lane. So I think just understanding the trade patterns in all lanes, some champions do an auto attack and a Q, like Jhin, for example, is auto attack Q and then back off. Some champions have only auto attacks, like Draven, for example, or an all-in with his E. So just understanding the trade patterns of your champion versus theirs and who wins at what items. I really think the most important thing is just that, playing the game a lot and understanding your character's trade pattern versus theirs. If you're very new to the game, you might want to go into a custom game and just practice last hitting minions. It can really help at first if you're a new player. Also, important things that low elo players don't do is they don't base when their wave is in a good spot. So now you might ask, what's a good spot for my wave? Well, the best time to base is when your wave is in their tower, meaning the wave is coming back to you, or when the wave is pushing towards you slowly. So you can base without many of their minions dying in your tower. If you base while the wave is in your tower, you will lose minions, right? While you're basing. So that's not optimal. This is a general thing you can look out for. It's kind of complicated, but it's easy to learn once you get it down. For team fighting, you gotta just press tab, look at the champions, and look at yours. Okay, I'm playing Jinx, immobile champion. I'm playing versus Malphite and Orianna. It's easiest for me to tell you that if they hit you with Malphite ult and then Orianna ult, you will die. One shot, right? So, do I have flash? Yes, I do. Okay, can you flash Malphite ult? If you can, that's how you play the team fight. You walk up, you attack them, you see Malphite ult, you flash it, and then you can hit them. But if you have no flash, you basically can't be in the screen of Malphite until he uses Malphite ult. So, just have to understand that what threat there is to you. In different games, there'll be a Blitzcrank hook, or there'll be, a Nautilus or a Thresh, or, something. There's always some spell that can one-shot you in this game. That's how it is. As ADCs, you are a glass cannon that does a lot of damage. Try to figure out what can kill you and what can't, so you understand like the threat level. Try to hide behind your Braum or your Tahm Kenches so that you can have a beefy tank to protect you. Practice makes perfect. You have to try a lot and you have to die a lot to get better at your games. Don't be afraid of making mistakes because that's how you improve. Well, right now, for my solo queue, I play mostly meta champions. My most played champion is Ezreal. He's blind pickable, he's versatile, scales well, strong right now in the meta, super OP right now with Death Stance and all that. But besides that, I like to play Kalista, strong laner once again, good with supports that are meta and supports that are like, fighting supports like Thresh and Alistar, whatever, solo queue supports that I played often, Leona, Nautilus, all that kind of stuff. I also prefer to play champions that have some sort of like self-defense, like Ezreal or Kalista. They can, 1v1 top laners or mid laners if they play well and they have strong laning phase, so they can impact the game. Caitlyn, Ashe, these kind of champions like strong laners that have influence in the early game, and I tend to prefer to play champions that can defend themselves in team fights. So I don't like to play Jinx, for example, or Twitch because some champions like Aurelia or Malphite or Wukong or Akali, whatever, Yasuo, Yone, all those champions, they run you over, one-shot you with no counterplay. So I prefer to play champions with some sort of like dashes or Lucian, Ezreal kind of champions because they can escape and not die one-shot. Just play whatever you feel like. Whatever you like and whatever you think is fun and whatever you're good at, just play that and you'll be fine. Alright everyone, thank you for watching. I hope these tips will help you climb the solo queue ladder, and yeah, thank you for watching.